Okay, let's unpack this. For this deep dive, we're exploring a really fascinating source. 5,000 writing prompts. A master list of creative exercises, plot ideas, and more by Bryn Donovan.
Yeah, and it's useful to think of this book not just as, a list, but more like a massive toolbox,
Yeah.
really designed to ignite creativity.
Right.
It's for anyone looking for that spark. Maybe you're working on a novel or a poem, an essay, even a blog post.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just want to see things a bit differently, like a storyteller.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to dig into this collection, not exhaustively, obviously, but to pull out some of the most interesting, maybe unexpected ways it suggests you can kickstart your creative process.
Or maybe just reveal some possibilities you didn't even know were lurking in there.
Yeah.
And the author, Bryn Donovan, she comes from publishing. She's a writer herself. And she wrote this book, she says, because she really believes creative possibilities are pretty much limitless. Way more than 5,000, actually. She sees these prompts as a tool, to break through that tunnel vision we sometimes get stuck in.
That makes sense. And she tackles something head on right at the start that I think holds people back sometimes. This idea that using a prompt is somehow like cheating.
Oh, definitely. She's very clear about that. Her take is that inspiration comes from absolutely everywhere.
Right.
Getting an idea from a prompt, it's no different than getting one from an article or something a friend told you or just something you saw walking down the street.
Or another movie or book.
Exactly. The magic isn't where the spark comes from, it's what you do with it,
Right.
how you build on it. That's what makes it yours.
I like that perspective. It kind of demystifies things, doesn't it? Moves it away from waiting for some lightning bolt.
Right, waiting for the muse.
And more towards actively playing with ideas, seeing where they go.
Yeah, the book is positioned as a way to remind writers, or anyone really, of the stories that are already inside them. Maybe just buried a little bit.
So it's less about giving answers and more like handing you a bunch of keys to unlock doors maybe you didn't even see.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that number 5,000, it really underscores that idea of limitless potential. It's huge.
It is. How's it structured?
Well, it's got broad categories: fiction, poetry, autobiographical, and blogging prompts. But she makes a point that these aren't rigid silos.
Oh, okay.
A fiction prompt could easily spark a personal essay or vice versa. There's a lot of crossover potential.
Having that sheer volume feels like,
Yeah.
well, it's a good weapon against the dreaded blank page, right?
Definitely.
Let's maybe dive into the fiction section first.
Yeah.
Seems like a big focus. She really emphasizes characters, doesn't she, as the hook.
Absolutely. And she offers some pretty unique ways to approach developing them beyond just, describe your character.
Like what?
Well, she suggests using personality typing systems, things like astrological signs or the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs, not necessarily literally, but as frameworks.
Oh, interesting. So not saying this character is a Leo, but using the traits associated with Leo.
Exactly that. The book gives examples like maybe a Leo character is vain but also has this strong sense of honor, or an Enneagram type 6, the loyalist, who's responsible but maybe a bit prone to conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Or, say, a Myers-Briggs INTJ remembers absolutely everything but is kind of awkward socially. The point isn't validating the system itself.
What's about the patterns?
Right. Using the patterns they suggest to add layers, complexity, maybe unexpected internal conflicts or motivations.
That's a really smart shortcut to depth, potentially.
Yeah.
The book also touches on prompts involving psychological disorders, I noticed.
Yes, and the author, Donovan, explicitly states the intention there is to feature protagonists, heroes, and heroines who are navigating mental health challenges. The aim, she mentions, is to combat stigma through representation.
How does she frame that?
It's presented as exploring character depth. Examples cited involve using traits associated with, say, borderline personality disorder, like unpredictable behavior, unstable relationships, or narcissistic personality disorder, that exaggerated self-importance. But the source emphasizes these aren't just like labels for villains. They're complex traits a main character might grapple with. The prompt becomes a way to explore that journey.
That definitely highlights the care a writer needs to take with portrayal.
For sure.
And building on character, she includes prompts focused on that classic advice. Show, don't tell.
Yeah, sections like action as character or true colors, they give you scenarios where traits are revealed purely through what a character does.
Can you give an example?
Sure. So instead of just saying she was patient, a prompt might be, write a scene where the character is tending a really difficult wound. Their patience comes through in their actions.
Right. Or showing courage by having them do some deep sea diving. maybe, or
Right.
prejudiced in how they unpack boxes.
Exactly. It forces you to think in concrete terms and observable behaviors.
And characters are rarely simple. I like the sound of the this and also that prompts.
Oh, yeah, those are great for creating immediate intrigue. Combining unexpected qualities, like um, a character who absolutely loves the city but is also deeply outdoorsy.
Or a spendthrift paired with a miser. Or a fugitive who was also somehow a U.S. Marshal.
Right. That juxtaposition instantly creates tension, makes you ask questions.
Occupations, too. That seems like a fertile ground she explores.
Definitely. Giving a character a job that's really different from your own experience, say an information security expert,
Yeah.
an ethical
Well, a
hacker,
sommelier, a marine biologist,
a small town mayor. It automatically gives you potential plot hooks, specialized knowledge they'd have, unique social circles they move in.
and emotions.
Hmm.
Specific emotions as prompts, like focusing on shame or cringe moments or anger or even just sighing.
Those cringe prompts are so relatable, like your bra strap breaking in public or hitting send on an email with a massive typo.
We've all been there.
Totally. Or the shame prompts blaming someone else for something you did wrong, or ignoring texts from someone you know you should reply to.
Those small moments tell you so much about a person. They create instant connection.
Yeah, they really humanize characters. Okay, so moving from character to plot, the book just explodes with starting points.
Beyond the usual suspect.
Well, it covers the classics, awkward situations, an escape, finding a body, a funeral, a moving house.
Standard stuff.
But also more structural ideas, like starting right in the middle of some dramatic moment and then having to backtrack to explain how things got there.
I like the ones you mentioned, starting with an arrest or a job interview.
Yeah, those immediately put characters under pressure, force them to reveal things naturally through the interaction.
But where the sheer scale really hits you is in the genre-specific prompts.
Oh, absolutely. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, mystery, romance, historical fiction. The variety is just wild. They often take familiar tropes and just twist them.
Okay, let's sample a few. Give us a taste of fantasy.
All right, fantasy. How about a wizard school turns out to be a total scam. Nobody has magic until one student suddenly does.
Ooh, nice.
Or two souls trapped in one body. Or maybe a library that isn't just full of books, it's actually an arsenal of weapons.
Okay, I see the twist element. What about, say, hellhounds locked out of hell?
Yep, that's one. Or a cursed river that makes you incredibly thirsty the more you drink. Gargoyles that suddenly aren't stone anymore. They take a familiar fantasy element and add something. What? Weird. Intriguing.
Okay, sci-fi. That must cover a huge range.
It really does. Environment, AI, genetics, medicine, time travel, space, aliens, alternate history. It's all in there.
Give me a couple of examples that stand out.
Okay, how about a government that temporarily neuters citizens until they pass a parenting test?
Whoa.
Or a future where extreme elective surgery is normal, like adding extra limbs. Or maybe something really bizarre like discarded human placentas are accumulating and covering everything.
Ew. Okay, that's memorable.
Right. Or people who function as human mood rings, changing color based on emotion. More grounded stuff, too, like illegal genetic therapies creating social divides, or finding some revolutionary formula hidden in an ancient text.
The really out there ones.
Giant humanoid skeleton found melted out of a glacier. The idea that people who hate cilantro might have a latent superpower.
Huh. I like that one.
These aren't just plots. A lot of them are basically world-building kits. They force you to ask, okay, how did things get this weird?
Yeah, you'd have to explain that world.
Mhm.
Okay, horror. What kind of unsettling hooks does it offer?
Lots. Things like the dead walking out of the sea, finding photos on your phone of yourself that you have no memory of taking.
Creepy.
A dead loved one comes back, but they're wrong somehow, changed. Or a centuries-old beauty secret that turns out to be utterly horrifying.
Classic.
A killer who messes with their victims by orchestrating false hopes only to snatch them away? Or just simple chilling images, an empty swing set swinging by itself.
Oh, yeah, that works.
There's also, like, the man who keeps appearing in the background of photographs taken over decades, or the soul attached to a piece of mourning jewelry made from the deceased's hair. They tap into primal fears, anxiety, the uncanny.
Definitely. Okay, mystery. These are probably more puzzle-focused.
Often, yeah. An intriguing setup, like a wedding ring is found 40 miles from where it should be. A museum X-ray reveals a completely different, shocking painting hidden beneath a famous masterpiece.
Okay, that's a good hook.
Or the mean girl in the sorority is found dead. A genealogist finds out all their ancestors kept visiting the same remote, suspicious location over centuries.
Wow, interesting.
Murders that seem to be reenacting scenes from famous novels or movies. Very specific scenarios, too, like a dead body found in unclaimed luggage at an airport. Or a murder on a cruise ship, and the prime suspect is the victim's brand new bride.
They give you a really concrete place to start the investigation.
Exactly.
Romance prompts. Are they all meet cutes?
Not at all. Some are quite complex, even difficult situations, like meeting on a long train journey right after a painful breakup, or falling for someone while helping them when they're a wounded enemy soldier.
That's complicated.
Quitting your job specifically so you can ethically ass out an employee you supervised. A kidney donor meeting the person who received their organ.
Wow, okay. So it goes beyond the surface.
Definitely. Or prompts like, two people were set up by friends years ago, hated each other, but now meet again and realize they've changed. Or someone who finds themselves falling in love with their dead brother's wife.
Heavy stuff.
It explores relationships in all their messy, real forms, not just the easy, bubbly parts.
Historical fiction must be fascinating. Requires research, but the prompts give you a starting point within a specific context.
Exactly, and often focuses on less famous aspects or people, like a free man in ancient Rome who becomes a gladiator but desperately wants out,
Okay.
or a textile worker in 1963 who gets recruited for a secret program to be the first woman in space. A perfectly sane Victorian woman whose husband has her committed to an asylum.
Oh, that's chilling.
A priestess in ancient Mesopotamia who secretly learns to read and write, which was forbidden. Marie Antoinette's son actually escaping from prison, not dying there.
Alternate history within history.
Sometimes, yeah. Or highlighting real but lesser-known figures, like the African-American cowboy Jesse Stahl. Or focusing on specific social dynamics, German-American families facing discrimination after the Lusitania sank.
Right.
Or a woman of mixed British and Afro-Caribbean heritage inheriting a fortune in Edwardian England and the complexities that arise. It encourages you to look beyond the big battles and monarchs.
Dig deeper into the period.
Precisely.
The book also suggests using existing stories, right? But transforming them.
Yeah, not just retelling, but taking the core concept of something classic, like the basic plot of the Tempest girl raised alone on an island meets the first man she's ever seen besides her father,
Okay.
or Rear Window spying on your neighbors and witnessing a potential murder.
Right.
Take that core idea and transport it. Change the setting, the time period, the characters' genders, the context.
So use the structure as scaffolding for something totally new.
Exactly. As long as it's public domain or you're just taking thematic inspiration, the same idea applies to the dialogue prompts, starting with just one line.
Like those examples. You've got 30 seconds. Or didn't anyone ever tell you your real daddy is?
Right. Just hearing the line makes your mind start racing. Who's saying it? To whom? Why?
Instant story engine. And image prompts, too. Using a visual trigger.
Yeah, those are powerful. Bypassing the logical brain. Things like a sponge soaking in dirty water, a broken thermometer,
A smashed smartphone screen.
the view of clouds from an airplane cockpit, a cow skull bleached in the sun, a daisy with half its petals pulled off loves me not,
A red house standing alone in a snowy landscape.
a bicycle inexplicably sitting on a rooftop, a man carrying a surfboard on the New York City subway, a marble sculpture of two lovers embracing. They just spark something.
Settings, too. Not just background, but the place itself being the prompt.
Definitely. A medieval blacksmith shop, an Iroquois longhouse, a fishmonger's stall in Victorian London, a Mayan temple complex,
Specific historical places.
but also more contemporary or evocative locations. Slag heaps from old mines, a tunnel filled with graffiti, an abandoned amusement park, a strange clearing with 100 stone pillars holding up. Nothing.
Wow. That image alone.
Right. The setting itself can drive the plot, create the atmosphere, define the conflict, or reveal character.
So it's clear the book is packed for fiction writers. But it's not just for fiction, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
There's a really substantial section on prompts for personal reflection and online content creation, too.
Autobiographical prompts for essays, memoirs.
Or even just self-discovery, yeah. They cover areas like childhood, identity, beliefs, family, relationships.
Like what specifically?
Prompts like, describe a time you had amazing luck or a terrible setback, a lesson you learned the hard way, a time you cried really hard or laughed uncontrollably, the weirdest food you've ever eaten, a memorable interaction with a total stranger, or maybe with the police, something you secretly wish people would ask you about yourself.
That's quite personal.
It can be. Or prompts about your phobias, your silly side versus your serious side, how your attitude about your appearance has changed over the years. Even things like your hometown's weather, or your feelings about voting, or what laws you'd make if you were in charge.
That pushes you to articulate your own thoughts and experiences.
Exactly. And then there's a whole section geared towards bloggers and online content creators. Very practical stuff.
Like what kind of things?
Well, advice posts, photo prompts, ideas for link roundups, and of course, list-based posts.
Okay, standard blog fodder, but with specific ideas.
Right. And interestingly, there's a section on tackling controversial issues in blog posts.
Oh, how does it handle that?
Well, the source explicitly notes that these topics are things that tend to generate discussion. It advises the writer, the user of the prompt, to think about their online reputation and how they approach it.
So it's not telling you what to think.
No, not at all. It's presenting them as potential starting points for posts designed to get engagement, to get people talking, but neutrally.
Can you give some examples of the topics listed?
Sure. Things like, should tax dollars fund private religious schools, school uniforms, good or bad, book banning debates, the ethics of a vegan diet, how social media affects us. Is the country better or worse off than in the past?
So potentially thorny issues.
Definitely. Also things like spending priorities travel versus home ownership. Is grad school worth the investment? What needs improving locally or nationally? Should space travel be a priority? Sex ed in schools. Unusual baby names.
Wow, it covers a lot.
Yeah, relationship deal breakers, products that are worth the money, arguments not worth having, the state of marriage, getting dogs from breeders versus shelters, Christmas stress, fruitcake.
Fruitcake, even for cake, is controversial.
Apparently. New Year's resolutions, choosing to be child-free, adult kids living at home, online dating, Valentine's Day. It goes on. Dressing your age, bragging about good deeds, euthanasia, kids playing outdoors enough.
Okay, I get the idea. It's providing fodder for discussion, with that caution you mentioned.
Yeah. Exactly. The framing is, here are topics people tend to have strong opinions about. Handle with care, but they can spark engagement.
What about less controversial blog ideas?
Plenty of those too. Advice posts, how to respond to rude questions, ways to flirt, how to write a love letter, helping a depressed friend, public speaking tips,
Practical stuff.
coping with job loss or a breakup or being cheated on, advice for adults going back to school or empty nesters, training pets, training kids, skincare, how not to get your feelings hurt, mingling at parties, taking better selfies.
Okay, very useful life skill type things.
Saying no politely, surviving a crisis, losing weight, dealing with being hacked or even arrested, helping kids learn about money, organ donation, forgiveness.
Photo prompts for blogs, what does that entail?
Using images as the basis for a post, like sharing baby photos showing different moods, pictures from your garden, the contents of your backpack or purse, your planner spreads,
Visual content.
favorite art or museum exhibits, interesting graffiti, book hauls, beauty products you use, vision boards, homemade bath stuff, kids' toys or toys for adults, Christmas gifts, tattoo photos or designs.
And link roundups, just curating.
Yeah, collecting useful or interesting links for your readers, favorite blogs or websites, cool Instagram accounts, craft patterns or tutorials, pictures of finished projects, kids' craft ideas,
Resources, basically.
drawing resources, poetry resources, novel writing resources, good fanfics, beauty tutorials, articles about aging well, blogging tips, typography examples, sports articles, gaming news, or just generally interesting articles you found.
And list posts. People love lists.
They do. The book has tons of ideas. Stocking stuffer ideas, top 10 songs right now, shows you've binge watched, 10 little things that annoy you, 20 little things that lift your spirits.
Things learned in college. Goals for the month.
Yep. Ways to be more environmentally friendly, movies that made you cry or smile, ways to be frugal, favorite local stores or chain restaurants, people who inspire you, guilty pleasures or guiltless ones.
Study tips. Instagram picture ideas.
Best and worst Christmas music, weird or obscure holidays you could celebrate, things you miss from a particular decade, people you miss, the best times of your life.
It really shows how versatile prompts can be beyond just fiction.
Absolutely. Any kind of writing or content creation?
Were there any other sort of unexpected prompt types?
Yeah, a few interesting ones. There are action prompts, just a specific physical action to start a scene.
Like?
Sell your hair or plasma to get money, make a grilled cheese sandwich using a clothes iron, build furniture or even a whole house out of discarded materials, take a wagon out into a blizzard to get essential supplies, having to relieve yourself behind a shrub during a traffic jam.
Okay, very specific and often slightly desperate actions.
They immediately put a character in a situation. And explanation prompts.
How do those work?
You write from a character's point of view, explaining why they did something or believe something or how something works according to them, even if the explanation is totally irrational or terrible advice.
Ah, so it's about capturing their voice and logic.
Exactly. Prompts like, explain why you should never cremate a body, explain how you got that scar, why you chose that tattoo, why you dropped off the face of the earth for 5 years,
Why rain in the country is uniquely dangerous.
why you moved to the city or why you quit your job, how to save horses from a wildfire, how to get a bargain on a used car, how to get rich quick. Probably bad advice.
How to be a good boyfriend or girlfriend? Maybe also bad advice depending on the character.
How to turn a stick into a magic wand, why you're digging up a grave, why you let everyone think you were mute for years, why you have a detailed map of local warehouses,
Why you leave your Christmas tree up all year long.
why you refuse to own a microwave, why you gained 100 pounds, why someone once described you as a sociopath, why that person everyone admires is actually terrible,
Why your friends need to stage an intervention for you.
why you fired the lead actor, why you adopted 10 cats, why your marriage was basically over before the honeymoon ended, how saying a specific prayer changed everything for you, how you made a fresh start after hitting rock bottom.
Those really force you inside a character's head.
Completely. And then there are even random prompts based on single, often unusual words.
Just a word.
Yeah, like stentorian, which means having a booming voice, or aggiornamento, bringing something up to date. Mordacious, biting or sarcastic. Petroglyph, a rock carving.
Apricity.
The warmth of the sun in winter. Martinet, a strict disciplinarian. Somnambulist, a sleepwalker. Invidious, likely to arouse resentment or anger in others. Maelstrom, a violent whirlpool or turmoil. Just the word itself can spark an idea or a mood.
That really drives home the point that inspiration can come from literally anywhere.
Absolutely anywhere.
One last thing I thought was interesting, that there's a section specifically on successful outcomes.
Yeah, that's important. Prompts aren't just about conflict and problems. They can also be about resolutions, positive turns.
What kind of examples are there?
Things like, a special event you planned turns out perfectly. You get the job or the promotion you wanted. You start a new business, or save a failing one. The underdog wins the competition.
A cure is discovered. A patient recovers against the odds.
Someone successfully has a baby after difficulties. Someone gets away with the crime, maybe. Someone sees the light and changes their ways for the better.
A rescue mission is a success. An invention actually works. It can fly.
A wedding proposal is accepted. A ruined house is beautifully restored. A lost or endangered animal is returned safely to the wild. The monster is finally killed.
Someone finally dares to chase their dream.
Arriving just in the nick of time, finding hidden evidence of someone's love or forgiveness, being granted a second chance, even perhaps a dead person coming back to life, but maybe in a good way this time.
It's a good reminder that stories need endings or turning points, and they don't always have to be bleak. These can be goals to write towards.
Exactly. They offer potential endpoints or significant positive shifts in a narrative.
Okay, so we've covered a huge amount of ground here, pulling from this massive resource. What's the big takeaway?
Well, I think we've really only just scratched the surface of what's in Bryn Donovan's 5,000 writing prompts. But this deep dive, I hope, shows the incredible breadth, the sheer volume of potential starting points out there.
It really backs up the author's point, doesn't it? That creative possibilities feel almost infinite. And that prompts are just these tools, keys, like we said earlier, to help you unlock them.
Yeah. Whether you're a seasoned writer stuck in a rut or someone just starting out staring at that blinking cursor, or even if you're just curious about where stories come from.
Or writing blog posts or personal essays.
Right. This kind of resource and the whole philosophy behind using prompts suggests that the spark you need is probably available. It might be out there in the world, or maybe it's already inside you. It's just waiting for the right nudge, the right key.
It highlights that maybe the biggest limit isn't a lack of ideas, but just getting started. Overcoming that initial inertia.
Yeah. Exactly. Which leads to a final thought, maybe. If inspiration really is everywhere, if it's in history and objects and overheard conversations and single words, and if tools like this book offer literally thousands of specific keys, what incredible, unexpected story might be waiting inside you right now, just needing one of those keys to unlock it?